What is up, YouTube? So, today I'm going to talk about what living below my means has taught me, the concept, and just generally have a conversation about it. I have my notes here, so let's get to it. First, a rant on things that I see that does make me a little bit sad on the inside. So, I'm 24, part of the Generation Z cohort, and a lot of what I see is on social media. Um, People trying to live their lives in a relatively glamorous way, uh, involving in some way spending a fair bit of money. Fair enough, we tend to share only our nicer moments in life. That's not what I feel sad about. I like to see my friends being successful in life. What I feel sad about sometimes is the mindset behind it all. Let me give you an example, right? So a person and in my social media feed showed off their modest gains in the stock market slash cryptocurrency, making some speculative trades there. That's awesome. They made money, a fair amount of it, in a short amount of time. Better than can be said for most people, by the way, which end up losing money in the stock market or not being able to beat the average market return. Uh, that's a topic for another video, though. Um, but but point is, what is their caption though after making that gain, right? Can't wait to spend it on a vacation when things finally open up. Vacations are cool. I'm not trying to advocate against vacations, but what I'm trying to say is like it's that mindset of needing, no, wanting to spend it all as soon as you have a newfound stash of cash. That's what I feel sad about, right? Let's say you secure your bonus for the year, time to buy those new rims I wanted, right? That's one example. Got a nice raise. There's always that home improvement project I can do. It's that concept that as soon as my individual income goes up, I'm going to now generate expense opportunities that otherwise wouldn't exist. Like I otherwise would not have bought those new rims. I otherwise would not have done that home improvement project. Got some new income. Let's get to it. Right. So, and even on a macro scale, right? In Western societies, Canada and the US, there's staggering amounts of credit card debt and people living paycheck to paycheck. Granted, some of this is due to student loans, rent, and just affording the basic necessities of life on a low income. Wages have not kept pace with inflation and just the general cost of living. That is a fact. Fair enough, right? But what I'm trying to point at is that a good percentage of this comes from frivolous spending habits. Something like 10 to 20% of those making six figures or more a year are living paycheck to paycheck. Meaning, if you're saving even 100 bucks, excuse me, if you're saving even 100 bucks every paycheck in this income bracket, you are coming out ahead of 10 to 20% of people in that bracket. That's shocking. What's more shocking is that you're actually able to finance a smartphone these days. Not a car or house, fair enough, but a smartphone. Think about that. You have to finance a smartphone because a lot of people just don't have the money to spend on something like that, but they still want it. Um, that phenomena alone speaks volumes to people's spending problems. Um, and the more you look into this, the more shocking it becomes. Like half of all Canadians are living paycheck to paycheck. So then, how is it that almost everyone around you seems to be able to afford a lifestyle that of going out to eat all the time, buying the latest things? Is it that your circle is only the other 50% that isn't living paycheck to paycheck, or is there a good chance that they're racking up crazy amounts of debt or not setting themselves up for future financial success? It's probably a mix of both, and I'm willing to lean that it's probably the latter, right? They're just stacking up debt or not saving as much as they should or as well as they could. Um, there's some more. I mean, sorry. There's some that take the mindset of living below your means to the extreme, right? So for some context, you see, living below your means just suggests that saving and investing a good chunk of what you make by cutting down on frivolous purchases that give short-term gratification in exchange for higher long-term gratification, right? And you can run the numbers in 20 different compound interest calculators online and see how you'll fare if you start investing 10%, 20%, 30% of your take-home income. That's not what this video is about. This video is not about the numbers. Just like almost anything in life, though, people take strategies like that, like, oh, if I save X amount of percent, how much in 10 years can I expect to make on this? And then just that strategy, just abuse it to the fullest, right? This is not unique to this. This is people just abuse strategies all the time for anything in life. This is just one example. So so one implementation of that example would be what happens when you try and save 90 to 95% of what you make. Spend only on the bare necessities, completely optimize this process of investing and spending just enough to exist so you can keep investing, right? There's a whole movement, by the way, online. It's called FIRE. It's an acronym, FIRE. It stands for Financial Independence Retire Early. It's a cousin of Fat Fire, which is a more optimized version of Fire, just gets more extreme. And so in my research in doing this, I stumbled upon this guy who makes six figures. He lives out of a van though, cycles to work and takes his showers at his workplace because that's a perk he has there. Um, and in doing so, he's actually able to save a crazy amount, like 90% of his income. The math is definitely there. It will show you that that is going to give you the largest returns on your money. Um, it's going to set you up for crazy amounts of financial success. Virtually every mathematical model around personal finance will predict that. It's like in calculus trying to min max something, find where that derivative is zero, and that's what he did. Um, but the thing is, like life can't be modeled as a math equation perfectly, because those equations, as great as they are at predicting financial stability, don't take into account the beauty of life, of just being alive, experiencing life when you're young, all of which takes a varying amount of money. But without getting too philosophical into that aspect, am I saying you should do this? Like just live super, super frugally out of a van and take showers at your work while making in the top 5 percentile of income brackets? No, I mean, I'm not saying that. If you want to, by all means, if you want to speed run, get into financial independence, or just it's another, you want to just grow your net worth for any amount of reason. Um, I personally won't be doing something like this. Like with most things in life, the truth is somewhere in the middle. Um, I'm just trying to talk about the extremes, like on one end, a person living as though he's at the poverty line while investing six figures, and on another end, a person spending everything they make, um, just trying to look wealthy on social media. Um, so it's just a conversation, really. Um, but let me get one thing really clear. The ability to live below your means to any degree is a privilege, right? Not everybody in this world can. Is it possible to work your way up there? Yes. Is it true that people are born into such privilege? Absolutely. So you can work your way into that privilege. But is it also true that some people they may not be able to achieve it? Yeah, some people just can't. It's just their life situation, right? This idea that everyone can somehow optimize their spendings and save after making all their basic life needs met, that's an idea that's parroted on a lot of these fire communities. That reeks of privilege, actually. So suggesting things like, "Oh yeah, dude, just eat ramen every single day, and you can save that additional couple of hundred you're struggling to save," without considering the nutritional deficiency, right? Um, you can look at the numbers, but they don't. They may miss something, right? So I'm going to say it again. Living below your means is a privilege, and given people's varied life circumstances, not everybody can do it. I'm just saying consider it if you can. Such a thing exists, which seems to be absent that logic in a lot of my social media feed, at least. And even if you have the privilege, that's awesome. But it can be hard to live below your means, even with that privilege, because so much of your peers may also likely be of privilege, but they may be living life to the fullest. So then now you have this peer pressure aspect of having to spend to keep up, which makes it uncomfortable to save, even if you know that it's probably the right thing to do. Um, your friend got those latest shoes, man. What am I doing with my 3-year-old kicks that are worn out? Whatever, just write it out. Right. Oh man, everyone's upgrading to the latest iPhone. I gotta have it. No, your 2-year-old phone is perfectly fine for another 5. Write it out. Um, but moreover, trying to save and build that nest egg myself over the last few years, um, what started out with seeing the financial benefit of doing so actually from all those models I studied, really turned into a sense of detachment from a lot of materialistic things and just being content in life as long as the simple things like food and shelter and happiness, however you define it, is present. And maybe having the newest tech every so often, reasonably well. I'm guilty of that. I'm not a frugal guy, but I'm also not a overindulgent person. Um, I live below my means. In summary, you don't have to be the senator's son to not have to live paycheck to paycheck. You can be average in a first world country, a little bit of privilege sprinkled in, um, just with a different mindset of wanting to live below your means and then invest the difference. That's the other key part. If you made it this far, thanks for taking the time to listen to me. I hope this video was helpful to you in some way. Um, Feel free to let me know if you agree or disagree. Till next time, peace.